Okay, Patrick. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
A couple games now, I think 11 penalties against Cal, 75 yards of penalties against Arizona State. To what extent, if any, is that a significant concern for you right now?
It is significant. You know, the 2 personal foul penalties we address right away. Those are things that are not acceptable. And that's players playing. You know, we want our players to play with emotion, not let emotion play with them. And you know, you got to be smarter than that when you get into those situations. So, you know, we talk about it and coach it and spend time on it, and we'll continue to do it because those are things that hurt you both.
Jason.
Yeah, halfway through the season, can you give me your thoughts on the offense and defense and special teams, and what each of those units has sort of surprised you or proven to you, and then in each of those units how each one needs still to improve?
Long question.
Covering a lot.
You know, offensively, I think we're doing some decent things. We've got to stay out of the penalty situation, got to stay out of negative yardage situations. We've done a better job in ball security since our opening game, but we still need to be cleaner. Defensively, I think our defense is doing a really good job of preventing big plays. You know, the one bubble pass where they had a couple broken tackles was the longest, Jamal Miles was the longest play to date against us. I think we're playing great pass efficiency defense. You know, we're forcing people to drive the field against us. We got to do a better job sometimes on 3rd downs and getting them off the field goal and finishing out drives. And then I've been really pleased with our special teams. You know, we're second in the country, I think, or right up there in net punting. We're doing a great job in our coverage teams. I think we can do a better job in our return teams.
Ken?
So a quick follow-up on Telford. Has he given you any special insight into playing in Colorado?
Not really. I mean, you know, we know that it's obviously going to play at an altitude, but there's nothing we can do about it. You know, we're in the anaerobic sport. I'm the aerobic sport. I think if we were going there for a cross country meet, it would affect us a little bit more. But besides that, we haven't really talked about the area. And then he's 3 years removed, so there's not a lot of. There aren't many players that are left on the team that he's got a pretty good knowledge of. So, it's kind of normal game week for us.
Stay out of Ralph's way.
Yeah, he's told us that. Stay out of Ralph's way.
Sam.
Okay, talk a bit about David Paulson and what he's meant to the offense the past 2-3 years.
David's been you know, one of the top tight ends in this league. Obviously, he was a first-team All-Pac-10 tight end last year. Very, very consistent in everything he does and how he practices and how he plays in the game. Truly selfless player. You know, doesn't care about getting any credit. Just loves playing. Really, you know, everything you're looking for in a football player.
Lindsay.
Chip, I heard that Nate McMillan and some other Blazer people were at practice today. And what were they doing? Just hanging out watching?
They were reporting. They got media credentials. Somehow snuck through the white, snuck through the wall. I don't know how they got there. No, they came down just like Eric Spoelstra came down. Last week we had the Melbourne Storm from Australia, the national rugby team from Australia, and so we've had some different teams come in and visit. We get a chance to kind of pick their brains, and they pick our brains. So, as Nate said, he's got a little bit of free time on his hands right now because there's a lockout. So.
Steve.
You talked about playing with emotion and not letting emotion play you. How do you coach that, and what do you tell the players about that sort of thing?
You know, there's a certain way to play the game, and that you have to play it between the whistles. You know, once the whistle's blown, those are the penalties that, you know, are really unacceptable to us. They were both after the whistle plays, and those are things that we can't. You know, you got to have boys out there, and you can't let yourself get rattled, and you have to be bigger than the situation.
Jake.
You mentioned that Nate McMillan was there. Is that something that a lot of college football teams do have? It seems like you guys have visitors often. Is that something that you specifically want to do? If so, why? Or is that something that everyone would?
I don't know about other guys, and we don't. I mean, we don't call them and ask them. They call us and ask us. Or, you know, it just depends on who it is and if they fit.
How does it benefit you guys?
You get a chance to talk to somebody that's an elite coach, an elite level. And when you get an opportunity, you know, it's a little bit difficult because we're in season. But you know, when Eric came, you know, we spent the day and we got a chance to talk between practices. And, you know, what issues does he face and what issues do I face? And, kind of how you handle that, things like that. So anytime you get a chance to share thoughts and ideas about how to run an organization or a team, it's beneficial to you.
Jesse.
Chip Jackson Rice is having a pretty good season at this point. What would you credit that to?
Extremely hard worker, and I think he's having an outstanding season. I mean, he's got to be one of the top punters in the country right now. And one thing we know when we send him out in the field is that he can drastically change the field position for us. He's done a really, really good job. He's playing with a lot of poise, making a lot of plays. Also doing a great job on our field goal unit, kind of running that show and directing that show. And our holder does a little bit more than some holders in terms of making decisions on when we're spreading people out. Do we have opportunities to get a couple extra points? And I think Jackson's having a great year, but he's worked very, very hard and had a great off season. Extremely diligent in the weight room. Just everything that he's done is because of his work ethic, and that's really showing off.
And Drew Howell gets credit for putting the ball where it's supposed to be just about every single time. What does that do for the confidence of Jackson?
I think it's obviously got to help him, and Drew Howell just, continues to play an enemy, which if you're a long snapper, that's what you need to do. The only time anybody knows who the long snapper's name is if there's a bad snap. And, we haven't gotten that from Drew. He's just been very, very consistent and done a great job of covering kicks also himself. So it's a great combination, and we have a lot of confidence because having those two guys there, a lot of experience, and really two of the top guys around. So.
Is Jackson's success start to affect your decision making at all in fourth down situations?
No, my decision on going on the fourth down is really on our defense and where we are on the field and some of those other things. And then game management, clock situations. A couple of times we punted the other night, but we were out. And we felt we had a pin and to make them go the distance. But combination there.
Patrick, we're going to go to the phone lines. If anyone has a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad.
Our first question comes from Steve Summers from Eddick. Eddick.com.
Chip, last week, Anthony Wallace and Cole Pye were listed on the participation report. I didn't see them on the field, but I assume they were out there someplace, and obviously they must have done something in practice. Can you talk about their progress to this point?
Neither of those guys played, Steve.
Okay.
There are no other audio questions at this time.
Okay, Patrick, we're coming back here to those in person. Go ahead.
Coach Embry has a lot of injuries right now. I think Ruby's out. They've got a corner out. They've got a running back that's out. Ducks are kind of going through the same thing. Is college football a game of attrition? Depth really means a lot.
Definitely. And I think it's the teams that can weather it and handle it the best are the ones that are successful. But there's a who's who of college football that's banged up right now. So it's and I think as a coach you understand that. And, you have to manage that, and that's just what this game is about. That you're going to have to. Injuries are going to come your way, and you're going to have to handle those. And if you have some depth, then you can, persevere through it. So,
Jason,
you often talk, Chip, about each week being the Super Bowl, being the biggest game of the year, essentially. But in your mind, do you look at, and this was a team that was young, that had some uncertain areas, needed to develop, work in progress a little bit. Do you look at this team peaking in November?
Our team? I hope not. Hope we play past November.
Do you look toward the end of the season? I mean, when do you look for a team to peak, to be playing its best?
We look for our team to really peak every week, and that's what our deal is. It's a weekly basis. We build from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then peak. And then we got to replicate that and go back again because, if your deal is let's peak in November and you don't do very well in September and October, then what are you peaking for? Trying to win 6 games and go to a bowl game. That's not what our program's goals and aspirations are. So, you better take each week like it is a Super Bowl because the reality of college football right now is the regular season is the playoffs. If you lose a couple games, you're out of it. So you better peak each week.
Rob?
A play or plays this season that you've been most impressed with from Taylor Hart, if he's been a rock for you guys since spring ball?
He has been. There's just his effort. Chasing down the screen pass in the Nevada game. Coming from about 15, 20 yards away and closing. He made another play like that last in the Arizona State game. You just kind of see glimpses and flashes of all of a sudden it's a play away, and then there's a big defensive lineman chasing it down from behind, and that's really he just plays with great effort all the time, and exactly what we preach. Everybody runs, and that's what you hear us always talking about on defense, and Taylor embodies that in terms of when he's out there. Just how hard he's playing is the thing that impresses us as a coaching staff.
And you showed this past year, I think he played a little bit of end with Tony out.
Yeah, he's played in the other games too. It really just depends on, how what they're calling and what part of the defense they're in. But he does lend some versatility because he can play inside and play outside.
Rick?
Last Saturday against Arizona State, I thought your offensive line did a good job of finding Montez Burfict. There was a hat on him all night long, it seemed like. How much of a factor was he in your game planning?
Well, any middle linebacker is a factor. We shouldn't be in a situation where we don't have a hat on a middle linebacker. So it wasn't specifically because it was Montez, but we don't want Chris Gallipo running around free. We don't want any middle linebacker running around free in terms of what we're doing, because anybody that runs a 4-3 defense is trying to get things funneled to that guy and for him to make plays. So I think it's more of the scheme we're going against, not the personnel we're going against.
Aaron?
Coach, Colorado has a strong history of success, great success, I think this year, national titles 2 years ago. So, but they're down now. How important is it to the conference that they maybe achieve some of those kind of levels of success to help improve the brand of the conference and strengthen it?
I'll be very honest, I do not care about the brand and the effort of the conference. I just care about how good our football team is. So I'm not concerned with, if a program is down and they're coming back or all those other things. I think John's got that program playing hard, and he's a really good football coach, and that they will be successful. But,
you don't care about the strength of the Pac-10?
I don't talk about the strength of the Pac-10 because I don't control. What we talk about all the time, Aaron, is what we control, and what we control is how well can Oregon play. And I got no control over what goes on in any other program here, so it's not that, and I don't mean to be, I don't care about the strength of the Pac-10, but I don't have any control over it. So for me to think about, how good is USC or how good is Oregon State or how good is Arizona State, then I'm wasting my energies on things I have absolutely no control over. I have control over this football program and how we're going to perform on each Saturday, and that's what I think we can do. So.
Jason?
How in your mind has the offensive line progressed, and how key was moving Asper inside?
I think they've gotten better as the season's gone along, and I don't know if it's key or not key. It's more of the development of Nick Cody, not the move of that. It's trying to get our best guys on the field, and Nick is really, Nick's a kid that's really progressed for us and done a really nice job for us. And he's a little bit more natural at right tackle than he is as an inside guy. And Mark has played both positions, so. But I think they've gotten better as the season's gone along. That was a real big question mark for us coming in, just because we lost 3 really good players in Fran and Holmes and Kaiser. So I think they've progressed as the season got along, but I hope they continue to progress.
Jake?
Coach Campbell said earlier today that he thought Kenyon, kind of something clicked with Kenyon during the Arizona State game, a physical runner. Do you agree? Did you see kind of a shift in how he approached contact?
No, I mean, the Kenyon I saw on Saturday night was the Kenyon that I've expected to see. That's the same Kenyon I've seen since I've been here. Started a game a year ago and scored 5 touchdowns in the first half. So every time he's got an opportunity to play, the only thing that's happened with Kenyon is he's been banged up a little bit, missed the games after the Washington State hit last year, and then got banged up a little bit in the LSU game. But what Kenyon did on Saturday wasn't a surprise to me.
And then Brian Bennett, how's he been in practice the past couple of days with the possibility that he'll be the guy instead?
Brian's been the same he was last week in practice. Very good.
Steven?